Hi, Francis, but this is Chester's tooth.
Without that tooth, you look just like your mom!
If you have ever watched Fairly OddParents, you probably know who Chester McBadbat is. If not, he's one of the main characters, Timmy Turner's best friend. Timmy has Fairly OddParents who grants his every wish with conditions as an attempt to keep him happy. Rewatching this show, I've noticed a lot of the kids in the show do not have fairies, or at least we don't see them. One of the kids in the show who I and many others may wonder why they don't have fairies is Chester. In this video, I'll be doing an analysis on Chester, his environment, and why I believe he doesn't have fairies. I will be comparing him to the main character Timmy and covering why I believe he has and needs fairies unlike Chester. To receive a fairy godparent, a child must be completely miserable with their life. This misery, which often stems from neglect, mistreatment, or severe unhappiness, is the key factor to being assigned fairies. When a child gets fairies, they have access to unlimited wishes as long as they abide by the rules, which ultimately makes them less miserable. Timmy Turner fits into this criteria perfectly. As we see throughout the series, he is very miserable with his life. Timmy's misery stems from the various ongoing issues in his life, which I'm putting into 3 categories for simplicity. These categories are neglect, bullying, and fear. When it comes to neglect, Timmy's parents frequently prioritize their own desires over his needs. One example of this is in the episode The Big Problem. We see this neglect when his parents tell him they're going to the movies. Timmy was very excited and assumes they mean we as in the family, but is soon crushed when they clarify that we only includes them. They begin to sort of rub it in his face and ignore the signs that he's actually upset by this.
Guess what? We're going to the movies!
Alright!
Not we're, as in all of us. We're, as in your mom and I!
What?
You're not old enough for this movie, and we're not taking you!
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with parents having a night out without their kids. I think it's necessary and needed to maintain a healthy marriage and household. But Timmy's parents rub it in, and they oftentimes overlook his needs and desires. This is just one example of many when it comes to the way Timmy's parents neglect him. A lot of times they act as if he doesn't exist, barely acknowledging his presence. While they seem to have a healthy relationship with each other as a couple, they lack a healthy relationship with their son, showing that they prioritize themselves over his well-being as they continue to leave him with the babysitter who treats him terribly.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Turner. It's me, Vicky.
You can't spell Vicky without icky.
We'll be back really late, so just tuck Timmy in, okay?
I'll take care of the little darling like he was my own passion blood. Have fun at the movies. Ah!
Even though Vicky does a great job at hiding her true identity, Timmy has expressed to his parents on multiple occasions how evil she is, and they often fail to hear him out, even just a little bit. Timmy also experiences bullying at school, mainly by Francis and his teacher Crocker, who makes it extremely hard for him to get a passing grade. Timmy is relentlessly teased and physically mistreated, as seen in the same episode, The Big Problem. Francis bullies him for being short, making him jump for his hat.
You'd be able to reach this, you aren't so puny.
He's even used as a football during football tryouts.
What's up for your positions? Tailback! Yes, sir! Linebacker! Yes, sir! Ball!
On top of that, Timmy has an immense fear of his babysitter Vicky, who's extremely abusive. These circumstances set the stage for Timmy to receive his fairies. As mentioned before, fairies are only assigned to children who truly need them due to how miserable they are. This shows just how hard Timmy's life is and why he needs his fairies Cosmo and Wanda. On the surface, Chester's life might appear to qualify him for fairy godparents. He lives in a low-income house with his single father, and his circumstances seem to be pretty rough compared to Timmy, where he has both parents at home and is more financially well-off. Chester is pretty unpopular at school and is also bullied by Francis. However, Chester does not meet the criteria when it comes to receiving fairies. Despite all of his struggles, he's not miserable. Chester's life is far from perfect. His father, Bucky, is a disgraced baseball player who struggles to make ends meet. However, Chester has something that Timmy lacks, which is a loving and supportive parent. Despite their financial struggles, Chester's father provides him with emotional stability, a strong parent-child bond, and a safe home. Chester's optimism sets him apart from those who need fairies. He doesn't let material things or the circumstances of life define his happiness. He finds joy in his relationships and small victories. As viewers, we might initially perceive Chester's life as miserable due to societal values that prioritize wealth and material possessions. However, Chester's life is rich in emotional fulfillment, which is true wealth. This contrasts with Timmy's seemingly ideal home, which masks deeper neglect and unhappiness. In the episode Fairy Idol, Chester temporarily receives a magical companion, Norm the Genie. This episode allows us to examine why Chester ultimately does not need fairies. The episode begins with Chester feeling left out. AJ is busy preparing for college and Timmy is preoccupied with chores, leaving Chester bored and alone. This momentary loneliness leads to Chester acquiring Norm, who grants him 3 wishes. He first wishes for Timmy to hang out with him, showcasing his desire for companionship rather than material gain. The episode jumps to Timmy's house, where he's taking advantage of his fairies and using them for selfish and unnecessary wishes, such as making his bed and getting him dressed. Norm is able to get Timmy away from Cosmo and Wanda to convince him to spend more time with Chester. Timmy and Chester have fun playing together, and Chester is convinced by Norm to make another wish, where he wishes for his father to be a successful baseball player. This new wish allows Chester and his father to move from their old trailer park to a new mansion where they have more material things and riches. We see during this time that Chester actually starts to grow truly miserable, being that his dad is now rich and famous and doesn't have much time to spend with him. Despite being granted all of these material things, Chester realizes that no wish can truly make him happier than having his normal life back. When Norm wins the fairy contest and becomes Chester's fairy godparent, Chester immediately wishes for his old life to be restored. This humble act proves that Chester is content with his circumstances. He values his relationship with his father and their simple life over material comfort or riches. Timmy and Chester serve as 2 sides of a coin. On one side, Timmy appears to have the ideal life with 2 parents, a nice house, and a comfortable amount of material wealth. However, his home is emotionally barren and he suffers from neglect, abuse, and unfulfilled emotional needs. In contrast, Chester's life might appear to be challenging due to poverty, but he has the emotional support and love that Timmy lacks. Chester's positive outlook and strong parental bond prevents him from falling into the misery required to receive fairy godparents. Chester's lack of fairies is not a reflection of an unfair system, but rather a testament to his ability to see the good in all situations. While Timmy struggles with misery that stems from neglect and emotional voids, Chester thrives despite his struggles. Chester doesn't need fairies because he already possesses what truly matters: love, optimism, and a strong support system. Ultimately, the Fairly OddParents reminds us that happiness cannot be measured by external circumstances alone. Timmy's fairies are a lifeline for his mental well-being, while Chester's grounded perspective and loving home provides him with the tools needed to navigate without magical intervention. I would like to know what you think about this topic. Comment your thoughts down below and subscribe for more content like this.